I'm saying these are the best drinks I've ever had on the show and that these are my favorite drinks, but anytime you answer that question, you're going to come up with a different answer. So let's just say that these are my favorite drinks today. So I want to start with an El Presidente. This is a drink. I had it for the first time on the show, and I made some minor substitutions off the cuff. Mainly, instead of dry vermouth, I used Lillet Blan, which is actually closer to a Blanc vermouth. It's sweeter, but white vermouth. I've looked into it. I have seen a lot of people say that the dry vermouth that you see reprinted so many times is probably a misprint or a typo or somebody misspoke or something like that, because the drink is so much better with a Blanc vermouth. I've tried it with the dry vermouth. It doesn't work. The other thing is this drink usually calls for a white rum. At the time, I happened to have a Ron Santiago 11-year from Cuba, which I cannot get now. Couldn't really get it then. I think a lighter colored rum is fine here. I think there's a lot that would work. This is kind of a Manhattan type drink. This is a cocktail. It's a stirred drink. It benefits, in my opinion, from something that's a little bit mellowed, has a little bit more character. You can really showcase a rum with this drink. And I am thirsty, so let's make one now. I'm gonna use 1.5 ounces of El Dorado 12-year. Yes, it is quote unquote not the correct rum, but it will be delicious. 3/4 ounce of our Lillet Blan, 1/2 ounce of dry Curaçao. Now this drink calls for a bar spoon of grenadine. Doesn't really add up to much in the flavor. From reading about this, that the reason it's there is to add color to the drink that would have been made with a uncolored rum. Nonetheless, I'm gonna put it in because it says to put it in there, and who am I to really argue, but there you go. Let's get a little ice. Give that sucker a stir. I don't normally chill my glasses, but I should. And today I did. Pull an orange peel. And here we have an El Presidente. What a damn joy of a drink. I adore this drink. It really showcases the rum. Here we're pulling up all of these woodsy kind of notes. This mellow, rounded off and sweetened kind of oaky flavors. Some of that is coming from the Lillet. Some of that is definitely coming from the rum. You could use, I think, a lot of different rums here. I do think this drink, it showcases rum. Why use a brash and unaged kind of rum when you could use something that's got a little bit of salt in its beard, you know what I'm saying? The orange notes from the Curaçao and the twist, of course, they all kind of work together, and you actually get to this new flavor that, to me, brings to mind like cherry wood. Before you think, oh, but that's the grenadine. Grenadine is pomegranate. Maybe that's a factor, but I don't think it's a large factor. Absolutely one of my favorite drinks of all time. And it was such a surprise when I made it on the show, because I'd never had one before, and I made it. I was like, oh my God, it is glorious. But make it with a spec like this, because I have heard that if you make it with the dry vermouth and such, you won't find, people don't like it that much. It's not that popular. I want to pause today and let's let you know that today's episode of How to Drink is brought to you by you. Actually, by the patrons on my Patreon. If you love this show and you would like to see it continue and would prefer to see it with fewer advertisements, you might want to check out my Patreon. Over on my Patreon, I have ad-free versions of all episodes of How to Drink, and certainly supporting the show through Patreon makes it a lot easier for me to say no to advertisers when they want to be on the show. Additionally, you will get access to our private Discord server, which is a robust and fun community. There's all kinds of great things happening over there. I'm in there bouncing ideas for episodes off of you guys and commiserating about the state of affairs on YouTube. There is exclusive content, videos, things that aren't over here, little vlogs, little looks behind the scenes, all that stuff. Use the link in the pinned comment below or up here in the corner. Check out my Patreon. See if any of those subscribership levels work for you. And if they do, I hope to see you in the Discord. Thank you. So these drinks are going in no particular order, just the way that I wrote them up. This next one is one of the two drinks that I often give as my answer for what's your favorite cocktail. The improved whiskey cocktail is just so good. It is a cousin to the Old Fashioned and a sibling to the Sazerac. Dave Wondrich posits that actually the Sazerac is a specific iteration of an improved whiskey cocktail. This version is from, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going off of memory here, the 1862 Jerry Thomas Bartender's Guide. It's the way I always make it. It is a lovely drink. If you haven't had one, you owe it to yourself to eventually have one. It's a life-changing drink. This is a drink that will set you on a path of pursuing perfection in cocktails. Start with, we're going to need 2 ounces of rye. Here it is. Using Rittenhouse Rye, but you can use the rye of your choice. You need a 1/4 ounce of maraschino, and a 1/4 ounce of this goes a long way in a cocktail. It will have a huge effect on the flavor. This is a potent little magical modifier. A 1/4 ounce of simple. There you go. 2 dashes of Boker's bitters. There you go. Could you use Angostura? Sure. Will it affect the outcome of the drink? Absolutely. Will it be a bad drink? Absolutely not. It'll be just a slightly different drink. If you throw Peychaud's in there, it's going to start to be a lot more like a Sazerac. Oh, almost everywhere but the glass. And strain away. There you have an improved whiskey cocktail. By the way, you can serve this on the rocks or up. You can do it either way. I kind of like it this way because it's a little more refined and also because, you know, it sets it apart from an old-fashioned, of which it is a very close relation. It gets garnished with a twist of lemon. I strongly encourage you to use lemon and not orange. I'm feeling particularly uncreative today with my garnishes, so we're just going to do a little notched bow tie kind of action. There you have it, the improved whiskey cocktail. Quite possibly my favorite drink of all time. Let's find out if that still remains true. Oh, shit. I forgot a vital ingredient here, which is a rinse of absinthe. Done. That was a close one. All right, here we go. Now, an improved whiskey cocktail. Stop the world and melt with you. That drink, man, every time I have one of these, it like awakens in me a mental fire. Just like, why can't I be this creative, this genius? The combination of flavors in here is so perfected. And perfected even to the point where, like, you could tweak it. It's perfect. It doesn't mind if you fuck with it a little bit. If you did a little more maraschino, a little more, you could change your bitters out. You could make some tweaks for your own personal taste. It will still be perfect. There's probably a few things that are sacrosanct. I think the twist of lemon and the rinse of absinthe shouldn't be touched. But my God, what an amazing accomplishment this drink is. It is a perfect union of its components, right? You get this opening note of this spiced rye, these baking spices, this like banana bread, you know, like that, maybe not banana bread, but I feel like you should be able to pick up what I'm getting at here. That kind of like, you come out of your bedroom and somebody's baking something for Christmas and it hits your nose. Not really, because that never happened in my life. But if you can imagine it did, in a commercial shot in the 90s on that special film stock. That one where they blow out the background a little bit and it's got a little bit of grain, and the kid, you got the feet coming down the hallway and he smells it and it's so good. It's so nostalgic. That's what that taste is, the rye. And then that gets in bed with the maraschino. And the maraschino has this nutty, mildly sweet note of woodsiness, this woodsiness, and the rye, and they, oh God, they get together so good. And the whole thing is elevated by this twist of lemon, this bright kind of note that's over the top, and it's like a chord. The 3 flavors right off the front form kind of a, I don't know, like a suspended seventh or something. I'm not into music theory, but one of those Bach chords, the one that makes you give the money to the church. It feels holy when you taste this thing, okay? And it's just the right amount of sweetness, the simple and the maraschino. It's just the right amount. But then on top of that, you've got this root of bitterness from the Bokers, okay, which brings with it, I don't know, what is that note? There is anisette there, but I know that's in the Bokers, but you're also getting it from the absinthe. I mean, tough to put your fingers on it, but it does ground it in this earthy kind of bitterness, this root, maybe a touch of gentian in there, just like a, and then the final thing that hits you, and it does arrive late, is this lingering, tremolo, high-pitched note of absinthe. And it just sings out this one note that lasts for so long. Absinthe does that in a drink. It's just a drop of absinthe, a dash of absinthe, a rinse. It provides this final note in drinks where you do that just lingers so long. I think that you will fall in love with cocktails from this. Start with a whiskey sour, more approachable, quickly graduate to this, and then I think you will understand there's an artistry here. Truly scrumptious lesson. Just magic. Let's move on to the next drink. Let's make a Caipirinha. This is the polar opposite of that drink. It's the exact opposite. This is a rustic, busted, broken down drink that uses a funky, unaged liquor. It is unrefined, very, very simple, barely even strained, you know? So to start a Caipirinha, we need a lime. We're gonna cut it into eighths. Put all of that right into your shaker. This drink can be made with granulated sugar or with simple. I happen to just not have any granulated sugar in reach. I might have done it that way for authenticity's sake, but there's really nothing wrong with using simple in it. I think it's more effective to say there's nothing wrong with using granulated sugar in it. They're both very, very good. In my case, I'm gonna make this one with 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. The other thing is I have to muddle this. I don't know where the heck my muddler went, but I do have this Molina. We're gonna use that. And you don't have to go crazy. We're just gonna crush these guys up. By using the whole lime, we're getting all the oils from the peels, which is a whole next level. We sweeten that up. We had 2 ounces of cachaça. What's cachaça? Cachaça is a liquor made from fermenting and distilling the juice of fresh pressed cane sugar. By the way, if you want to pick up some Novafogo, you will find it at Curiata, drink.curiata.com, friend of the show. Order from them, they will ship it straight to your house. I get a small piece of the action, so if you support them, you support the show. Here we go, let's shake this sucker up. A lot of times this is built in the glass you're gonna serve it in. I'm not gonna do it that way. I like pummeling the hell out of it. Let's see here, we have 1 big ice cube we wanna pull out, because if I put that in there, it won't fit. And there it is, 1 Caipirinha, perfected. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The notes in that are all over the place. You know, you get this bright, like gasoline-y, almost metallic kind of, maybe even copper. I never connected that before. Ooh, and it's just like shot through with this lime and sweet thing that resolves into, oh God, where does it even go from there? You get some more bitterness out of the limes here because we have all the peel. That also brings these extra oils that, like, I don't know, like Fruit Loops almost, like better Fruit Loops. These different kind of, I wouldn't even say higher register flavors. They're like sideways flavors. Balanced by sweetness, that bracing cachaça, lime, and sugar kind of thing put together. It's a cold drink. It is a liquid air conditioning kind of cocktail. Mm-hmm. And I love it because of how simple it is. I'm not even juicing this. I'm just taking a lime, chopping it up, and throwing it in there. Boom. It's like you stuffed a bunch of Angrier rum into a daiquiri and detonated it. Really weirdly on this one, I'm getting some notes that remind me of like black tea, like an English breakfast kind of thing. It's very welcome. I'm enjoying it. It's sort of a finishing touch on there. It took me a long time in my journey of cocktails to get around the Caipirinha. And honestly, I didn't expect much. Blew my mind how much flavor, how much volume was in this glass. I mean, it is just loud. This drink is screaming in your face. Even grinding up the crushed ice with it is like a part of the experience. Oh, honestly, it's one of the greatest cocktails. I had to put it a little bit out of reach or else I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm not gonna finish this episode. Now we're coming to the drink that I usually give as the answer to what is your favorite cocktail? The Mai Tai. This is, I think, kinda the penultimate cocktail. Am I using that correctly? I don't know. Mai Tai is a much maligned cocktail. I think it's really kind of been revived, saved. Throughout much of the 20th century, there was a drink that was called the Mai Tai that had every fruit juice imaginable and some rum in it. And they come in crazy colors like blue and red and all over the place. They should really be kind of straw yellow colored. And they're not much like the original Mai Tai, the Mai Tai as invented by Vic Bergeron. Actually, I can never remember if the Mai Tai is a Trader Vic's drink or a Don the Beachcomber drink. I think it's a Don Beach drink. I don't think it's a Trader Vic's drink. I think there was a lawsuit about it. Yeah, it's a Don the Beachcomber drink. There's been a lot of recipes for this that I've seen over the years. The thing of it is that Don the Beachcomber, when he was making it, he had access to Ray and Nephew 21-year rum. They don't bottle that. They don't even attempt to make that anymore. It's gone. He drank through the supply of that pretty early on and has then spent a lot of his career looking for substitutions. To simulate that 21-year rum, I'm going to be using Appleton Estate 12 and Plantation, which is not really a Jamaican rum at all. I've been having these lately, and they're quite good like this. There's an argument to be made that I should be using Smith & Cross or something and keep it in Jamaica. That's a great idea too. It's really kind of hard to go wrong, you know? So we're gonna start with 1 ounce of orgeat, which I recently made a batch. And here's the thing, for a long time, I've been using Small Hand Foods orgeat because I'm too lazy to make my own. I ran out the other day, so I had to make my own. And I like Small Hand Foods orgeat a lot. I think that that is the one to buy if you're buying an orgeat commercially available. And I hadn't made my own in years. And boy, I think I'm back to making my own. So 1 ounce of this. A lot of recipes will say to use a ½ ounce of orgeat and then a ½ ounce or a ¼ ounce of simple. I say the orgeat is kind of like the main event here. Why are we shortening that up? If we're gonna make it sweet, let's make it sweet this way. ½ ounce of Curaçao. I like Pierre Ferrand dry Curaçao. 1 ounce of lime juice. And yes, you really should use fresh, or you could use super juice, but don't buy that stuff that comes in the plastic lime. And now we need our 2 ounces of rum. Boom. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of our 12-year and 1 ounce of the Plantation. Put that all in there. That's a Mai Tai. Let's get some ice. This drink is often served on crushed ice, powdered ice, whatever you want to call it, snow even. I'm a little bit lazy for that right now. Let's give this guy a shake. Grab yourself a nice little tiki mug. You could use a Mai Tai mug or something from Whiskey. All of the glassware on How to Drink is provided by Whiskey Glassware, the official glassware provider of How to Drink. If you love any of the glassware you see me using, you want to pick up some for your own home bar, because I'm sure you need glassware, use the link in the pinned comment below or up here in the corner. Use code HowToDrink15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off of your entire order at Whiskey. They are fantastic. I really do enjoy all of their products, so check them out. So we've got our Mai Tai here. There are 2 more things we need. 1, did I save it? I didn't. I'm an idiot. Well, all right, I already threw it away. You're supposed to put the hull of the lime you squeezed on top of it, upside down so it looks like an island, and then also a mint sprig so it looks like a palm tree. I think that the mint sprig is vital. I think that the island is optional. Let's get our mint in there. Some people say you should give it a little slap to get the oils released. I don't know how true that is. And a straw. And you want to size your straw to your mint sprig or vice versa so that your mint is maybe a little taller than your straw. You want someone's nose to be up in that mint when they have to go take a sip, because you want the mint to really be part of the drink. Oh my God. What a wonderful balance of orange and almond sweetness, elevating this rum, this mellow, funky banana rum. With the nose of the mint. These are very dangerous for me because I'll make one and then I'll make a few more and I will have a rip-roar night. I think it's one of the perfect cocktails because it is, again, it's a tiki drink and it is stripped down to essential elements. It's in such balance. It's not overly sweet at all. It is not overly tart. The lime and the sweetness are right there in tension, up against this oranginess, up against all of that rum, and you could use a funkier rum. I went mild here. I think you could have thrown a little Smith & Cross in there. You could even do like 1 ounce of your 12-year, ½ an ounce of Smith & Cross, and then like ½ an ounce of Wray & Nephew Overproof. You could do that, keep it all like 3 flavors of Jamaica, all turning the volume up all the way. You could put the funkiest, loudest rums you want in here. Stay away from an agricole, that'd be kind of a mistake, I think. And the drink will carry them, and it will show them off very well. What is such a wonderful thing about these, and a dangerous thing about these, is that despite being spirit balanced, spirit forward is the wrong word, but spirit balanced, they are so easy to drink. They are just gone. You will get someone in trouble with a Mai Tai. This is like a bubblegum almond banana kind of thing in there without being overly sweet. The nose of the mint is so fresh and so bright and so clean. It's a glass of paradise. It is just such a wonderful joy. And they're so in tension and so balanced and just so representative of their parts. You know, they really show off everything that goes into them. The Curaçao, the orgeat, the lime, and the rum is all there, all present, all saying, how do you do? And yet being very, very, very approachable. I think it's one of the pinnacles of the craft, to be honest. A perfect drink, a perfect cocktail. We're coming up to my last drink on this episode, and I wanted to get something gin in here because I had a lot of rum and whiskey, and a lot of rum and whiskey. I should try to get something tequila in here, but I'm not personally a giant tequila fan. I could see a Paloma making it in here, a fresh Paloma. But I wanted to get some gin in here, and you know what? I don't mind that it's my own gin drink. We're gonna make a Rusty Anchor. This is a drink I invented in an episode forever ago where I was honoring the Golden Girls. So this is a Rusty Anchor. I named it after the bar that Blanche hangs out in, the Rusty Anchor. It's a variation on a rusty nail. Forget variation. I think it's an improvement on a rusty nail. So this drink is built in the glass over ice. So we're gonna start with a half an ounce of lemon juice. I'm actually gonna 1 ounce of Drambuie, which is a sweetened liqueur made from Scotch. 2 ounces of London Dry gin. Honestly, if you're looking for like sort of a de facto standard London Dry, Tanqueray is it. Stir the heck out of that like it was an old fashioned, right? Should you be stirring something with lemon juice in it? On this one you should. Then we do a float of Angostura bitters over the top. You could use a dasher and just dash, 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 dash. I think it's like 20 or 30 dashes of Ango. I'm looking to get like a really solid float across the top here. Of course, that's our rust. And there you have the Rusty Anchor. I haven't had one of these in a minute, but I do recall quite loving them. Let's see. So first off, the nose is so herbal and perfumed and just, it calls to mind like a florist. I mean, it's so floral and just bright and fresh and sweet. Those are good. Bracingly bitter, mated to this herbal sweetness and the juniper notes that run through that fresh, bright pininess, which I know a lot of people don't like gin, but here, the gin is moderated in such a way as to be almost a background note. The Drambuie is providing sweetness and these herbal notes. The bitters are kind of tamping down and screaming over the top of the gin a little bit. Tangy, bright, citrusy, bitter, fresh, and floral, and herbal, and spicy. Allspice, mace, cloves, all of those things are happening in there. What a fun drink. Definitely one of my favorite drinks I've ever made on the show. It's something to spend some time with. It's a bright, slow sipper, which is, I think, unusual. There's not a lot of drinks, in my opinion, that are bright, ginny drinks that would be at home in sort of a afternoon garden party that you want to slow down to drink. This is nothing like a Pim's Cup. This is nothing like a Collins. This is like an old-fashioned, but with something of the flavor profile of those other drinks. I made it for the show. It was just like one of those moments where I was like, oh shit, I did something good. It was a real happy accident. My notes suggest serving it with a garnish of cheesecake, as in a slice of cheesecake. I agree with that. I don't happen to have any cheesecake, but yep, if I had some, I would love some. Well, today on How to Drink, I've showed you my favorite cocktails, or at least my favorite cocktails from the 445 episodes or so of making this show as of today. Some of these are immutable. I don't know if they would all stay on there forever, but the Mai Tai, the improved whiskey, and the Caipirinha, they're never going anywhere. Those are absolute favorites. There's probably stuff that should be on this list that didn't make it on the list, but I'm only human. If you're new to cocktails, if you're interested in like, well, what are the pinnacles of the art? Here you go. Try one of these. See if that sets you on fire. See if that lights a interest in you in pursuing this craft as just a personal art form, as something to play around with on the weekends, as something to do after work. A drink in moderation, you know? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. I will see you soon on another episode of How to Drink. Until then, good night and good luck.